Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a little bit of a look at a new Alcremie, but it's not exactly like you might think it is. You see, a little while ago, I told you about these Pokémon TCG Raid Battles. And I told you they looked like an awful lot of fun. I told you it was a new print and play format the Pokemon were having a play around with, and that it introduced these giant raid bosses, which at the time were Pikachu and Dreadnought. And we had a whole big video about it. I'll link that video in the description. Similarly, I made a little video about Pokemon that completely break this format. Again, I'll link that one in the description as well. But what we essentially have here is a third boss Pokemon. Now, these come from the lovely Joe over at Cerebi.net. Lovely dude. And of course, I talked to him before doing this video. It'd be very rude not to. And if you really want to get jealous, Joe has physical copies of this. Oh, if anyone's wondering about a size comparison, this is Pikachu VMAX compared to an old style Jumbo, the new standard size Jumbo, because remember Jumbos are all the same size now, and just a standard size Pikachu Pokemon card. So these are very chunky boys, the physical ones. But what is super interesting here is that Joe didn't just get sent Pikachu and Dreadnought, Joe got sent Alcremie. And you might notice here that Alcremie isn't on the website. And as a side note, I have gone and checked the website just before I record this video. It might be added there later, but as of this moment, the website, which I will link in the description if you've forgotten, where you can go and print out all of the components for this game, it doesn't have Alcremie on there. As far as I'm aware, the only one that has Alcremie at the moment is Joe. Although the very nature of this game means that when you see Alcremie in this video, you can proxy it up rather nicely. So what we have here is an Alcremie, and it's basically got 3 different levels, just like the other ones before it. So the first stage of Alcremie has 1500 HP. The first attack, Aromatherapy, heals 50 damage from this Pokemon. And then Draining Kiss does 50 damage and heals 30. And Dazzling Gleam does 60. But it also does 10 damage to the Pokemon in the active spots next to the defending Pokemon. So best done against the Pokemon in the middle, at least if you are the Alcremie. Now I do need to give a massive shout out to Marty here, because Marty's going to hook me up with some really nice images of stages 2 and 3 to answer any questions that I did have. Marty is awesome. Now starting off here then, in the stage 2, we are healing 70 damage from this Pokemon with 2100 HP, or we are doing 70 damage and healing 50, or we are doing 70 and then 70 to any Pokemon in the active spots next to the defending Pokemon. And this is kind of interesting. Remember, these attacks for these raid bosses are essentially done at random based on cards that are flipped over. So this done against a Pokemon in the middle will hit 3 Pokemon for 70 damage, but done to a Pokemon on either edge, either flank if you will only hit 2 Pokemon for 70 damage. That's like a genuine big difference. And then as we get up to the third and final stage, we're up to 2900 HP. The first attack heals 100. The second attack does 100, heals 70. And the third attack does 100 to the active, or to the defending, whatever you want to say. And then 100 to each Pokemon in the active spots next to the defending Pokemon. There we go, defending. That's what we're supposed to say. This is ridiculous. This is really powerful. And of course, for me here, right, my immediate response is, alright, how does this stack up against Pikachu, and how does it stack up against Dreadnought? Now, in terms of HP, this is fairly straightforward. If we pop it next to Pikachu, stage 1, you got 100 more HP. Stage 2, you got 100 more HP. Stage 3, you got 100 more HP. And if we stick it next to Dreadnought, stage 1 we got 100 less HP, stage 2 we got 100 less HP, stage 3 we got 100 less HP. So in terms of hit points, it literally fits exactly, perfectly, smack bang in the middle between Pikachu and Dreadnought. But that's only half the story. The question is, where do we fit in terms of attacks? So for the time being, we might look at the lower stages in a moment, but let's focus on the third and final stage, the hard mode as it were. And let's see how Alcremie stacks up. So if we have a look at Pikachu, Pikachu in the hard mode, in the 3-star raid battle, is 50 damage, 80 on a coin flip, 50 damage to each active Pokemon, or 220 plus 100 to itself. Now if we stick that side by side with Alcremie, Alcremie's got the healing rolling very nicely here. The first attack heals 100, the second attack heals 70, which is kind of awesome. So in terms of healing, Alcremie's clearly looking really nice. In terms of spreading, it really defends. Like, don't get me wrong, Pikachu's 50 to everything. Well, it kind of depends. So let's look at it this way. Let's say Alcremie hits the flank. Alcremie does 100 for 2 different Pokemon, 200 total. Pikachu always does 50 to everything, 200 total. But half of the time, Alcremie's going to do 300 damage total. So actually, in terms of spreading, Alcremie's a better spreader. But that's not necessarily a completely fair way to look at it, because if we have a look at the attack cards here, there are more attack 2s than there are attack 3s. For anyone that's wondering, there are 8 attack 2 cards, but only 4 attack 3 cards. There are also 8 attack 1 cards. So basically, there are 8 1s, 8 2s, and 4 3s. 3 is half as likely to come out as 1 and 2. So yeah, sure, Alcremie's got the better spread, but Pikachu's going to be spreading more often. So I actually think in terms of spreading, Pikachu is probably going to end up doing more damage over the course of a long game. But having said that, Alcremie can take you out quickly. Alcremie can attack twice and knock out pretty much the entire board in a way that Pikachu's not going to. Alcremie's going to be taking out 200 and less HP Pokemon, and Pikachu's going to take a long time to get there. Now, to be fair, Pikachu does have the one-hit KO potential with Volt Tackle, 220, and that will one-hit a bunch of your Pokemon, but then again, Pikachu does 100 to itself, and it's already got 100 less HP. In terms of damage, I do think Pikachu outshines Alcremie here. But it's not just a damaging game. Alcremie's got the big spread and has got the healing, so I would need to play a whole bunch of games against both of them to really tell you for certain, but I do think Alcremie looks just a tad more difficult here. Pikachu's spread 50 is something that you can deal with for a few turns. Alcremie's spread 100, you just can't. To be fair, the attack number 3 is hard to deal with whichever Pokemon you're looking at, but I think Alcremie's healing probably pushes it over the edge here. But again, there are going to be turns where Alcremie gets a triple KO by hitting 3 Pokemon for 100, and that's going to be harsh. Putting it side by side with Dreadnought here, Dreadnought has got Bite, 60 damage and stops you attacking, Jaw Lock, 100 damage and stops you retreating, and Hydro Pump a flat 200. So again, Dreadnought's got the one-hit KO potential here, but any extra HP Dreadnought's got is more than matched by Alcremie's healing. And I'll be honest with you, I would rather one of my Pokemon take 200 than 3 of my Pokemon take 100. Again, it's fairly close, but 200 is even less than Pikachu, and Pikachu I still came down on the whole Alcremie side. I will say that the stopping you retreating is honestly not always going to be a huge deal. I mean, I know you retreat around so that your active Pokemon, you essentially have to have both KO'd, but unless you are definitely going to get KO'd, a lot of the time retreating isn't going to be that big. There will be times where stopping you retreating is huge and loses you the game, but there'll be other times it doesn't matter. Stopping you attacking does suck, but then again, Alcremie's constantly coming out healing 100, healing 70. Alcremie's not stopping you attacking, but it is constantly healing up to make your attack pointless anyway. I do think on the face of it, and I think it's fairly close, but I do think Alcremie probably is the toughest of the 3 so far. I don't think it's a runaway toughest, but if I end up putting the title of this as something like Toughest Raid Battles yet, I do think that would be a title it's earned. Massive shout out to Joe and Marty again for hooking me up with images and let me know about this. Those dudes are awesome. And I'm sure you're all checking out Cerebi.net regularly. You really should be, but if you're not, add it to the list, would ya? For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this Alcremie and whether you think it looks harder or more difficult than Pikachu or Dreadnought. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.